All right, I just wanted to get this out of the way before I freaking take a shower. I just came back from playing basketball. It's crazy. It was 66 degrees here in New Jersey after it just snowing a week ago, and then it dropped down to 51 degrees literally in a couple hours, and then it became extremely foggy. But I have to go on Instagram and just see these freaking clowns on NBA Today, or at least a couple clowns. I have no respect for Malika Andrews. I just think she's an extremely disrespectful human being. How she treated Adrian Payne when he passed away, or just the disrespect in her voice, bringing up an allegation that was never really proven that he went on to do whatever it was at the time, but it wasn't proven yet. But you don't bring up an allegation when someone passes away unless it's like a historically terrible human being. So right there, I don't have respect for Malika Andrews. Richard Jefferson, he knows the game. I know he's really corny towards New York Knicks fans, but I really believe he knows the game. Kendrick Perkins, he gives respect to the Knicks, but we have to see Stephen A. Clown on NBA, ESPN, whatever it is, BSPN, it's bullshit, the takes they have on there. It's owned by Disney, so, it's more of an entertainment thing than literally true basketball. I only watch ESPN when the New York Knicks are playing or any other NBA game. And Stephen A. Smith, he says he's a Knicks fan, orange or blue skies, baby. This dude is one of the most corny and stupidest analysts when it comes to the game of basketball. Baseball, doesn't know shit about baseball, doesn't know anything about football. He doesn't really watch the New York Knicks games. And he starts off by giving credit to Jalen Brunson, but there's always a but. He never really appreciates what's going on with the New York Knicks. The New York Knicks have been ass for so long, and they even got better this season when they traded away RJ Barrett and Emmanuel quickly. And we'll see what happens in the playoffs. I'm not going to say we're going to make it to the second round. I'm not even saying we're a contender. So he starts off by giving credit to Jalen Brunson, but there's always a but. Like, he always gets jealous of these other players, like, oh, but Halliburton, because they were having the discussion, should Jalen Brunson have been a starter instead of Damian Lillard. By the way, Jalen Brunson is better than Damian Lillard this year. Bucks fans should even admit that. And surprisingly, Jalen Brunson was even more consistent in the clutch. He was a more efficient scorer. He was just overall a better player than Damian Lillard this year, no doubt about it. But because the Bucks are a higher seed than us, I completely understand it. And I understand Damian Lillard's reputation in this league. But Halliburton, I understand him bringing up Halliburton. Maybe you can make an argument that he's at the same tier or better than Jalen Brunson, even though he hasn't proven anything in the playoffs yet. Let's not forget what freaking Jalen Brunson did in the playoffs, averaging 30 points per game in the second round. Candace Parker, she don't watch the games either, even though she's not on ESPN or whatever. That was inside TNT. But, they're talking about that. But he brings up Donovan Mitchell out of nowhere, that he didn't even, he wasn't even named a starter. And he got more votes, I believe, than Jalen Brunson. But there's always a but. Why can't you just appreciate that Jalen Brunson is playing very good basketball? He brings up that, oh, Brunson, I understand what he's doing, but look at Mitchell. He's averaging 28 points per game. See, I love Donovan Mitchell as a player. He seems like a great human being. He's from New York, and if he was a Knick, of course, I would take him in the right circumstance and the right structure around this New York Knicks team because of defense. And he brings up the stats. This dude only brings up stats. He only brings up, oh, look at the way this dude plays. He never really breaks down what really happens in games. He's a casual. He doesn't know shit about the game of basketball. And I understand it's an entertainment thing when it comes to Stephen A. Smith. But Donovan Mitchell is one of the most overrated players in basketball. He really is. At least Stephen A. Smith made me feel that way because I just hate Stephen A. Smith. And I would say, from a basketball IQ standpoint, Mitchell's overrated. And he's a fantastic scorer. But let's not forget, why do you have to bring up Mitchell? Let's not forget that Brunson outplayed Donovan Mitchell in the playoffs when he wasn't even a top option. And last year, when the Knicks were the underdog, we're the 5th seed and they were the 4th seed. We all had to hear that the Cavs were going to bust the New York Knicks' ass, and Jalen Brunson was more clutch than him once again. So Stephen A. Clown, appreciate the Knicks. Jalen Brunson, can Donovan Mitchell get out of the second round? In my opinion, you're not a superstar if you're not out of the second round yet. You need to prove more. You really do. You could be a superstar in the regular season, but are you a superstar when it really matters?